ーベ帝国の領土に入るよ。
なぜ女子用の服が。いや、考えるのはやめよう。とりあえずあの男から逃れられたことは幸運だった。
One of the things I love about anime the most is finding or stumbling or coming upon an anime that you had no real expectations for, but you kind of threw it on the list. Now, that is exactly what we had here today with the do-over Damsel. This was one of those ones where I read the synopsis. I think we watched the trailer, you know, when we were going over what we're going to watch this season. And I threw it on there because I was like, yeah, this kind of fits the archetype of shows or manga that I want to read or watch. Like, this fits that bill. And going into today, I forgot that this show was coming. Fall anime has just been filled with so much anime that I just kind of forgot. I was like, oh crap, like, yeah, I was going to watch this show. So I locked in, I watched the episode, and I was blown away. I was laughing. I thought it was just hilarious. I thought that the characters kind of like, they were enigmatic, which just means like they were very charismatic. And the characters came and they basically grabbed me and they go, be interested in me. And that extends to our main princess, right? So our protagonist, her name is 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐫 or something like that, right? 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐫, just something like that. She sounds like a Cadillac, but her name is Jill, and she is charismatic, emotional, hilarious, just like a pleasure to watch on the screen. And the animators over there at this studio, and this is done by JC Staff. So you know how I love JC Staff. If you don't know, I love JC Staff. Do they have some poo-poo stuff out there? Yeah. Do they do some doo-doo stuff? Yeah, they do. But for the most part, they kind of hit pretty good. I think they're putting up extra work. Now, one thing I will say is I'm not a big fan of the big, bold outline animation, but they have that here, but it didn't detract from the experience at all. Now, what they did is they allowed these characters to be like super expressive and have a lot of feelings, and their emotions were very captured into what they were animate on the screen. And when a studio gets that right, like it just makes the show, it elevates the show, just makes it so much better. Because not only are you getting the expressions and feelings through voice, you're getting it through what you see on screen. And I think they're just really nailing it. So, Jill, awesome MC. Then you have the weird 𝐒𝐶𝐻 prince. I don't remember exactly what his name was, but you have the weird 𝐶𝐶𝐻 prince. And the whole thing here is Jill finds herself in a pickle to where she's had to escape prison. The reason that she was put in prison is because her fiance, who she was hopelessly in love with, she found out and caught him with his sister. And we found out that he's a big 𝐒𝐶𝐻 to the nth degree. I'm talking. And she was like, yo, what the hell? And she caught him. Because she caught him, he was like, oh, you caught me? You gotta go. You gotta get out of here. He's like fatality. So, you know, that's exactly what ended up happening is, you know, because of that occurring, she was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. But he caught her first and he threw her in prison. And he basically is, how do you say it? Framing her for trying to poison the sister that he loves. And because of that, he set up an execution for her. So she dips out and she ends up getting cornered and she dies at his hands. Well, his hands or the hands of his people. When that happens, the clock turns back and she finds herself back in the body of her child. Already, I kind of love that, right? So, and I don't know what in the world keeps happening. My camera will turn off one more time. I'm gonna shake it. I'm gonna shake it like a Polaroid picture. Okay, I think we're back. So she ends up back in the body of herself as a kid. And the day that she finds herself back is the day that this 𝐒𝐶𝐻 prince proposed to her. And really, she was just like an out the whole time. She was just like a front for his secret relationship. So weirdo behavior, okay? But hey, regardless, is what it is. So she finds herself and she thought that she escaped him, but she ends up trying to get herself out. She panics. And in her mind at that moment, she was like, okay, grab anybody and say, I love them. So then that way she can get out. Well, she grabs this dude named Theos Rave or Rave. I don't know how his name is. He ends up being the emperor of this other kingdom that in the future, in her current timeline before she died, ends up being the kingdom that destroys the kingdom that they're currently in, or at least, you know, almost destroys the kingdom that they're currently in. This dude is like demon lord, emperor, crazy man, okay? So she grabs him and he's like, oh shit, like, you love me? You love me? You love me? you love me. And he's like, okay. And he takes it to the nth degree and he treats her like a princess and he loves up on her. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to. She says like no words and he's just catering to her. And he grabs her. He's like, okay, we're going back to my kingdom. And they share some really funny stuff. We find out that he actually has a dragon named Rave or Rave. And essentially that kingdom was bequeathed a dragon. And he's like, he's basically, we find out that, and that's where the whole title comes in. He is the dragon emperor. He's like the dragon lord, the dragon commander. And he's extremely powerful, by the way. And he gets, he grabs her and they ship off. And then she tells him the truth. That ends up being a whole ordeal. And then she ends up thinking about like, well, shit, if he takes me back, I'm going to be back in the hands of this dude I don't want to be with. But I love his personality. This Theos guy, this Rave guy, like he is just like very Butler-as. He's like, I mean, he's a lolicon, so that there's that as a big negative. Again, another anime with some 10, 12-year-old girl who is the ire of some older man's fascinations. He's 19, big lolicon, and instantly fell in love. He's like, you love me? You know what I mean? And that was a whole thing. And it was just, the whole exchange was just really, really hilarious. I love his personality. And that extends to his dragon. His dragon is hella funny too. So just overall funny moments. Even the non-intentional funny moments were funny moments. And that's what I really appreciate about this show. So far, this has kind of put itself at the top of the anime this season for romance and for comedy. I would say for those two things. Now, there are some other things, like it has magic, there's fantasy, there's like political stuff, like there, politics and stuff. But I would say, throw the time travel away, throw the reincarnation, like throw all that away. For comedy and for romance, it has not ignited, but it has like propelled itself to the top this season. So I think episode 1, for me, on an entertainment scale, was like a 9 out of 10. I was extremely entertained. I think from a reviewer scale, probably about a 7.5 or 8. There are some faults in it. I can pick it apart, you know what I mean? But I would say about an 8 out of 10. I think if I were to go onto my anime list right now and rate it, I think I'll put it about an 8 out of 10. And it could go even higher. But for my entertainment scale, like, my pure non-critical scale, just, how much I enjoyed, 9 out of 10. This was really, really good stuff. So this has, there's a couple of other anime that have launched this season where this nailed what I wanted to get from there. Instantly grabbed. Instantly got into what the plot line was. Instantly fell in love with these characters that I met for the first time. I think the episode 1 put its best foot forward. It introduced us to some craziness. It introduced us to the timeline, the backstory. Like, episode 1 didn't leave anything on the plate. And that's what anime needs to do. So, yeah. Overall, fantastic show. Can't wait for more. We'll be covering this one all season. Once again, the do-over Damsel conquers the Dragon Emperor. Chef's kiss. Dom seal of approval. All right, my friends. I'll see you guys next week for episode 2. Peace.